do you think's happening?
He is like planning something.
He's planning something.
Where?
Kamara, your thumb is up. What do you think?
I think they're moving westward, and I think he scouted ahead of them to look.
Okay.
And another thing, he looked like Dracula.
Okay. Well, but he's not. So how you feeling about it, Jose? What do you think? What are your feelings? Okay, so he says he thinks President Andrew must have lost a war.
I can tell.
And people are moving because what? Because they don't want to die? Let's find out. Hands down? Because it's YouTube, it won't play anything.
For thousands of years, these mountains were home to the Cherokee. But they were just a small piece of their vast nation, which covered 40,000 square miles here in the Appalachian Mountains. In 1819, as more and more Americans started encroaching on Indian land, the U.S. government signed a treaty that guaranteed that Cherokee land would be off limits to white settlers forever. It clearly stated all.
So encroaching means moving in on somebody's territory. So when he says that white settlers started to move in on the territory, the land that Native American or Indian tribes lived on, okay?
Is that still?
Forever.
I'll take one from him.
It clearly stated all white people who have intruded or may hereafter intrude on the lands reserved for the Cherokees shall be removed by the United States. Confident that the U.S. government now recognized its sovereignty over its own lands, the Cherokee Nation proceeded to build itself a new capital in 1825, here in what's known as New Echota, Georgia. It had its own courthouse, council house, and post office, and even space for the first Indian language newspaper office in the nation. In 1829, Andrew Jackson was elected U.S. president. He believed that Native Americans were savages and had no rights to their land, and began proceedings to remove the Cherokee from the southern states to clear the way for white settlement. The next year, he signed the 1830 Indian Removal Act, which set in motion one of the most brutal actions ever taken by the U.S. government. Thousands of Native Americans were pulled from their homes in Georgia and other states across the South. Many were shackled in chains and forced to walk at gunpoint more than 1,000 miles west on a series of routes that all led to Oklahoma. Up to a third of the 15,000 Cherokee who were forced to make the journey died on the way, which is one reason that journey came to be known as the Trail of Tears. Their descendants are known today as the Eastern Band of Cherokee Indians and live here on sovereign Indian land in Cherokee, North Carolina. Today, young Cherokee here at the local high school learn the language of their forebears. A vast stretch of their tribe's former land, right next to town, is now the Great Smoky Mountains National Park, the most visited national park in the nation.
Okay. So now, if we're going to go back, who can now explain what they think is happening in these pictures and how they are connected to one another? Krishaylin.
I think that the people over there, and I think the other people.
The people are what?
Picking our body up, I think. Over there.
Over here, yes, they are.
And
But what are they on? What are they traveling on?
land.
What do we call this?
So,
What is this movement called? When they all move? Yes, Patrick? The Trail of Tears. Who are these people?
Indian, and you could tell it's a chair.
Okay. So these are Indians, these are Native Americans, and they're being forced off of their land. They're now moving westward. But why were they forced off of their land? Who forced them off of their land? And who is that man again, Frankie? Who can help him out? Jose, are you able to help him out? President Andrew Jackson. Okay, so they had a deal with the United States government. This land that you're on is forever your land, not just right now, but forever. Nobody else can settle this land is yours. And then in 1830, President Andrew Jackson didn't feel the same. He felt like Native Americans were savages, dangerous, violent people. So he wanted that land. So he created the Indian Removal Act in 1830. What's the act that he created in 1830?
The Indian Removal Act.
The Indian Removal Act. So then they had to walk thousands of miles. No car, no plane. Walk thousands of miles. And a lot of them settled in Oklahoma. So they went from, some of the tribes went from Georgia all the way over here, Kamari, Oklahoma.
Why did it move one?
And here, as somebody pointed out, looks like they're picking up a body.
A dead body.
A third of the people did not make it to their destination because they died along the way.
The starvation. He dirty.
It could be that, just tired, exhaustion.
He
got
sick.
Why you talk about the Native Americans are savage? He is savage.
I saw.
All right. So now we're on week 15 in Studies Weekly, so we backed up a week. We're on week 15 for Trail of Tears.
Yeah, I see why they call it Trail of Tears, because I see some tears.
Oh man.
Who can help me out? You can pass these out for me. Student of the week.
Yay.
Mr. Ricky Johnson, ladies and
Oh,
gentlemen.
can I help?
He's got it. He can handle it. All right. Until you get your newspaper, you can follow along up here. First, let's learn about Andrew Jackson.
Intro.
Andrew Jackson was the 7th President of the United States of America. He was born in the backwoods of the Carolinas. As a child, he fought with his brothers in the Revolutionary War. Jackson's brothers died in the war, and he was captured. While the British held Jackson prisoner, one officer demanded Jackson shine his boots. Jackson refused. The officer hit him with a sword, and Jackson never forgot it. Andrew Jackson was orphaned at the age of 14 years old, and from then on he learned to take care of himself. He became a lawyer and was the Attorney General in the Cumberland area. In 1812, he was a general in the War of 1812 with Great Britain. At one point, Great Britain wanted to take New Orleans, and that meant war. General Jackson commanded 6,500 troops against 7,500 British troops. The United States won the war, only having 71 casualties, while the British had over 2,000 casualties. After that war, Jackson was elected military governor of Florida in 1821, and then became a two-term president from 1829 to 1837. Jackson was famous for his temper. He was quick to fly off the handle when someone made him angry. He wasn't afraid of anyone and wouldn't back down. He was known to challenge men to fights over things from horse races to politics. He was given the nickname Old Hickory because he was known for his toughness and temper. Jackson was known to be deeply in love with his wife Rachel. She had been married before she married Jackson, but it was later discovered that her divorce wasn't final until after she married Jackson. His enemies made fun of him after being the husband of another man's wife. Jackson was very stern and determined with the American Indians in the South. He wanted the land they were on, and he wasn't willing to bend. He helped expand the size of the state of Tennessee by taking it from the Chickasaw Indian tribe. He was the general of the Seminole Wars when the Seminole Indians weren't willing to give up their land in Georgia. When he was president, he signed the Indian Removal Act of 1830, which moved all Indians to Indian Territory, which is where Oklahoma is now. This act forced 70,000 American Indians from their homes. The trail they walked to their new territory is appropriately named the Trail of Tears. Thousands of American Indians died on that trail. When President Jackson retired in 1837, he moved to his beloved Hermitage homestead in Nashville, Tennessee. On June 8, 1845, he passed away and was buried next to his wife, Rachel. We remember him by having his picture printed on the $20 bill.
Oh,
Okay? So who can tell me why is it called the Trail of Tears? Why do you think they call it the Trail of Tears? Eli, what do you think? And true. So it was really sad, right?
Yeah.
You think they were happily moving?
No.
You think when they found out they had to move, they were like, oh, all right,
No.
let's go. Alright, here's what you're going to do now. You are going to work with your team. Y'all have questions, Ricky? Do you have a question? Your hand was up. Do you have a question? Oh, from before, so you can put it down and start an answer. Okay, you're going to work with your team on answering the questions that are on Nearpod. You can use, the map is in Nearpod for you to use. It's also on the back of your newspaper. So everybody, pick up your newspaper, flip it to the back. This right here is the map that you need to use to answer these questions. Okay, you have 5 questions. I'll put them up on Nearpod. You will have 10 minutes to work with your group on answering them. They do not have to be answered in complete sentences. Okay? Does everybody understand? Any questions? How long do you have to work with your team?
10 minutes.
Where's the map that you need to use? Where are the questions?
Right there.
They are up here, over here on the side, as well, but you will answer them where?
On Nearpod.
On Nearpod.
Oh, yeah. I see the question right here. I see that question right here.
I'm talking about these right here. Those are the same questions.
We have an answer?
Yes. Answer them in Nearpod. 10 minutes you work with your team.
Which of the American tribes travel?
Indian tribe.
From the story.
Which American tribe?
You use the map.
American Indian tribe travels the farthest Indian territory.
So look at the
About
first one.
how did they travel?
Question number 1. Which American Indian tribe traveled the farthest to get to Indian territory? By looking at that map, which tribe? Is it Cherokee?
Yeah.
Is it Chickasaw? Chicksaw's purple. Choctaw? They're the red. Creek?